Hello everyone, this is Professor Tychek, and I'm here today to give you a practice run of comparative advantage, a more complex version of it, as you might be expected to complete. So I've got three states here, or three locations here, Wisconsin, California, Nevada, and I've got butter, cheese, and milk, three general products, commodities that a company could make. Okay? And a typical 40-hour work week per laborer. Okay, so these are units. So let's say they're pounds. Okay, and a 40-hour work week, this is what they could produce. Whether this is accurate or not, true to life, is not the point here, right? As an econ class, we get to make some stuff up. Throughout the semester, we've done this. So these are the numbers we're going to work with. Okay, so let's tightening this up here. What we want to know is who has comparative advantage. Now I'm going to ask about comparative advantage for butter and cheese. Okay, so I don't care about milk. Okay, so this could be a typical situation where you have too much data. Like we don't care about milk. We don't care about who can produce the milk. So for all intent and purpose, we could actually remove this. Okay, so this is one of those tests of what we call data literacy. Do you even need that data? Can we get rid of it? Kind of thing. So the answer is yes. Let's just get rid of it. Okay, so it's irrelevant. I'm not asking you about that product, milk. Okay? So how do we do this? Well, we need to find the ratio. Okay, and I know I'm in Microsoft Excel, but the ratio is this. If I want to make 1 unit of butter, how many units of cheese could I have made in that same amount of time? Okay, so we think of this as a ratio. If I make 10 units of butter, I could have made 20 units of cheese, and we break these ratios down to a 1 and a 2. Whoops, 1 and a 2. Microsoft Excel. The reason for that is we just chop off these zeros. Okay, for California, every time we make 20 units of butter, we could have made 20 units of cheese. So that ratio would really be 2 over 2, but my advice to you is whatever product you're talking about, so we're talking about butter here, get that ratio down to a single unit. Okay? So if we were to break our ratios down further, what we would get is a 1 over 1. Okay? So what this is saying is in Wisconsin, for every 1 unit of butter that I make, I could have made 2 units of cheese. In California, for every unit of butter that I make, I could have made 1 unit of cheese. So 1 butter, 2 cheese, 1 cheese. Okay? This is important. Okay? Because we as human beings love to consume our cheese. Okay? That's my favorite food. Big surprise, it's part of our example here today. So what we would say is, if we let California produce all of our cheese, we would have less cheese. Okay, so what this would mean is California would produce 20 units of cheese. Okay, outcome. They'd produce 20 units of cheese, 0 butter. Okay? What this would then do is say Wisconsin produced 10 butter and 0 cheese. Okay, so maybe a better way, 0 cheese, 10 butter. Okay, so that's outcome, let's say 1. Outcome 2, using comparative advantage. If we say, hey, we sacrificed 2 units of cheese under this situation. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have you produce 20 units of cheese. Okay, so we'll do 20 cheese and 0 butter here. And over here, we will have, because there's no difference, right? That's a 1-to-1 ratio. Whether we produce butter or cheese, we'd be getting away with 1 over 1. So what you'll do here is 0 cheese, and you'll still get 20 units of butter. Okay? The reason for that is we're using these numbers here, right? By saying, using comparative advantage, we ask who has the lowest opportunity cost or the highest opportunity cost. So the world would miss out on, if you just look here, what's the total? We have 20 cheese produced and 10 butter. Here we have 20 cheese, 20 butter. The world would lose out on 10 units of cheese, or sorry, 10 units of butter if we chose the wrong partner under this model. Okay? Because we would have had Wisconsin produce the butter and California produce the cheese. Over here, we have Wisconsin producing the cheese and California producing the butter. So this is the clear winner using comparative advantage. Okay? So hopefully that helps you break it out. Now, if we were to look at Nevada, okay, Nevada also has a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, right? They've got a 1-to-1, 5 over 5, 5 to the 5 is a 1-to-1. So they would produce 1 butter and 1 cheese. Okay, so under their outcome, if we had them produce cheese, okay, the best they could produce is 5 cheese. Okay, the best they could produce is 5 butter. So that's nice, that's useful. But what we really care about here are these big dogs. We don't want to mess these big dogs up. Okay, so it might be nice to say, Nevada, you know what, produce the cheese. Produce 5 cheese and 0 butter. Okay, or produce 0 butter and 5 cheese. You're so small, it's kind of irrelevant. I know there's a science to it, but in reality, you know, these would be the two that we're really caring about. So that's how you apply comparative advantage here, where we really care about those big dogs. But yeah, they're still relevant because they can produce a little bit of cheese or a little bit of butter. I mean, we could have them produce 3 cheese, 2 butter, right? And then over here, 2 butter, 3 cheese. And then keep in mind here, these are different situations. They're not doing both, okay? It's one or the other. They could produce a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So hopefully that was helpful to you on how to break this down. First step, break this down. So that's your ratio. And then this is it. This is your ratio in lay terms, right? This means, okay, what does this mean in street terms, right? And these are individual outcomes, right? If we don't use comparative advantage, we get 20 cheese and 10 butter. If we use comparative advantage, we get 20 and 20, which when you add these up together, it's really 23 cheese and 12 butter, right? And over here it's 23 cheese and a little bit of 23 butter. Right? I don't know about you, but when I look at these words, I'm thinking, did I spell butter right? Did I spell cheese right? How many times can you stare at the same words here? And of course, both of them have a character, a letter in them that's done there twice. So hopefully this is helpful. And I would ask you who has comparative advantage or who should produce the cheese. So obviously in this case, it'd be Wisconsin should produce it. California should produce the butter. And quite frankly, Nevada, do whatever you want. Whatever the market really wants more of, if anything, out there. So